This video is titled, Can You Fool a Self-Driving Car? By Mark Rober. Let's get right into it.
I'm in my Tesla on autopilot going 40 miles an hour towards a fake Wile E. Coyote. I'm in my Tesla on autopilot going 40 miles an hour towards a fake Wile E. Coyote road with a painted wall. Please stop. Please stop. And I'm doing this to see if Tesla's autopilot can be tricked, because it famously only relies on simple cameras to now.
I ain't gonna lie, I don't know if y'all ever watched Mark Rober, bro. Mark Rober's videos are very tough. Yo, it's your boy, the Official Mirror. Before we get into this video, I want to ask you guys a huge favor. Make sure that you hit this like button and make sure that you comment your opinions in the comment section down below. I will be replying to all comments. Also, this is the biggest of them all. Make sure that you smack this subscribe button. And I mean, smack this subscribe button, so you won't be missing no future uploads. Right back to the video. Like, very tough. Like, I just love people that can create, right? And them being able to, like, when I say create, I mean, like, take something from your hands, like, take wires and make those wires be able to do whatever, right? Take wood or be able to chop that wood down and slice the wood, make a house out of it, or make a chair, or make a tabletop, or whatever. Like, I just love people who have the skill and the engineer mindset to want to build something new and innovative. Like, this shit is crazy.
Navigate the world, as opposed to much more expensive tech. In fact, we're out here today to run a bunch of tests in extreme conditions to see how those simple cameras on a Tesla stack up against other fancy cars that use more advanced technology. Wow! And the story of how I ended up as a crash test dummy in my own car.
Whoa. Are you driving against a wall?
6 months back at Disneyland, as I was sneaking onto the famous
crash test dummy
called Space Mountain. And while I might look a little plus-sized in that jacket, as you can see from this infrared camera shot, that's no ordinary jacket, because it's hiding some of that fancy car technology.
What is that? Yeah, baby! What is that?
43 million people ride Space Mountain every year, but unlike a famous ride like Colossus, Space Mountain is in near total darkness, meaning no one knows what the ride actually looks like, which, as far as I'm concerned, needed to be fixed with a special undercover operation. True story, I have been wanting to make this video for over 20 years, way before I had a YouTube channel.
Wait, so why are you just not doing it, Mark?
Someday the technology will be there, so we could map out what Space Mountain actually looks like. So this is a very big moment for me. Now, it's common knowledge, every good undercover operation worth its salt needs a 3-step plan. For me, step 1 would just be getting into Disneyland with my tech through their famously tight security. And if I managed to do that, step 2 would be making it through the park, avoiding any security guards on my way to Space Mountain. And finally, for step 3, I would need to sneak onto the ride itself while avoiding any suspicion to make my childhood dream come true.
Okay.
If all this seems like overkill, let's just say I have a
sounds pretty easy.
Getting kicked out of amusement parks in the name of science.
Follow you, man. Why are you doing this to me?
For step 1, I took an oversized jacket and made a little pocket inside where I could hide my secret tech inside it.
It's like the slight limp shuffle walk that really sells it, I think.
Because they make you walk through metal detectors, I disguised and temporarily placed my device with a bunch of gear in my camera bag, and just had to hope it wouldn't get discovered.
We'll just wait till your eye gets fully screened in case you have an item that's not supposed to be here.
And even though this moment of truth was terrifying, I knew I just needed to play it cool. Like that.
Excuse me, can you not record the...
And the security was, in fact, extremely tight.
Yeah, there was definitely
but our alibi was tighter.
All right, we're in. 1 down, 2 to go.
Once inside, I immediately made my way to a bathroom to properly suit up. Now I just had to
you
make
got
it all
past
the way over to
security,
Space Mountain
step
without
1
arousing
complete.
the suspicion of any of the park security, which is a lot harder than you might think, because it's a well-kept secret. Disney employs a bunch of security officers dressed up in plain clothes as normal park goers, so I could trust no one. So in an attempt to blend in and look like a normal park goer, I took a corn dog break.
Doing this for the integrity of the mission.
Not because they're
that corn dog do look good though. I ain't gonna lie.
Close call or 2, I had made it inside the building.
All right, 2 down. Now for the hard part.
Now that we're inside, it's probably a good time to explain why my jacket looks like this when you view it with an infrared camera, because that is a really tiny portable LiDAR scanner. So it's shooting out 640,000
what is a
laser
LiDAR
pulses
scanner?
per second to fully map the surroundings. Now, as for the legality of this, if you check the back of your ticket, it says you have to obey all the park rules. And if you check their website for the rules on forbidden items, it says you can't bring in shoes with wheels, or stun guns, or cremated remains.
Okay.
Ew. But you'll notice the forbidden items list makes no mention of chest-mounted LiDAR scanners. So technically, I'm not breaking
like,
any
who in their right mind, besides Mark Rober, will bring a LiDAR to scan the roller coasters?
laws by precisely mapping out this entire ride down to the nearest half inch.
Don't blow this, Rover. We got this.
And so after sneaking past the last of the ride security, I was finally in place. And this is probably a good time to point out that the final boss here in this control room, watching all the infrared see-in-the-dark cameras, was the one I was most afraid would shut down the whole operation. Because when we tested this out to see how inconspicuous the LiDAR would be, as you can see here, not very, as it lights up the whole place like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
By the way, you should know LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging, whereas radar is radio detection and ranging. Basically, it's like having a bunch of laser pointers inside this shell, shooting all around the room. And each time you fire one of them, you then see how long it takes for you to see it hit the object it's pointed at. And since we know the speed of light, if we measure that time, it will tell us how far away the object is. For example, it will take twice as long to detect the laser point on an object that's 20 feet away, as opposed to an object that's 10 feet away. But how could the sensor possibly keep track of 640,000 laser pulses firing all out at once? Well, it turns out, amazingly, they actually happen one after another. So the sensor only has to keep track of one pulse at a time. And this works because the speed of light is so fast, in fact, if you slow time way down, so the time it takes a laser to hit an object is 4 slow-mo seconds, then you can wait 30 minutes on that slow-mo time scale before sending the next pulse. So it's
Yo, who do you know that breaks down stuff in slow-mo time? Why did that just make so much sense?
30 minutes on that. And this works because the speed of light is so fast, in fact, if you slow time way down, so the time it takes a laser to hit an object is 4 slow-mo seconds, then you can wait 30 minutes on that slow-mo time scale before sending the next pulse. So it's actually really easy for the sensor to know exactly which laser pulse it's measuring, even if that happens 640,000 times in a single second. And with that, it was time for the execution phase of Secret Undercover Operation Mousetrap.
Okay. Operation Mousetrap commenced. Wait, whoa. If you're not supposed to do that, don't they have cameras on rides? Like, I haven't been to Disneyland. So, do they have cameras on roller coasters at Disney?
To cross off a 30-year-old bucket list item.
Oh, that's a camera.
Just as I feared, as our exact cart pulled back into the station, they stopped the ride and announced it was being locked down.
All flights have been put in a holding pattern.
Stopped the ride.
That was a camera.
I was about to have an unscheduled appointment with a bunch of dudes with muscles much bigger than mine. But as it turns out, it was an unrelated power issue, which meant this was a mission accomplished.
That's like a dream
I'm
come
about
true.
to say,
Before I
he's
had a
getting
YouTube channel,
booked.
I wanted to do
They
that.
saw the
And the
camera.
only critical oversight of the whole operation
They got
was
saw by the
forgetting
camera.
took
Look, they
those
took a
dumb
picture.
keychain photos at the end of the
Mark.
ride, leaving behind some very incriminating evidence at the scene.
I forgot to put it away. That's so awesome.
That's Harrison, by the way. And he started the company that
What's
makes
good,
these super
Harrison?
small portable LiDARs. So after mapping out a few more rides like Haunted Mansion, let's go, and continuing my painstaking efforts to blend in, we headed home so Harrison could process all the data. And a few days later, he did not disappoint.
This is from the LiDAR you were wearing on your chest.
Get out of here.
All of this is totally in the dark.
Now what's really cool is we could visualize what was recorded as the ride progresses. And so as you can see here, you get a sense of what the LiDAR was seeing in real time as the ride progressed on. But what's even cooler though is we can now use that data to make an actual tabletop 3D model of Space Mountain with the help
bro.
of our army of 3D printers, which meant for the first time ever, this question marks days were numbered. Got it. So while the 3D printers were hard at work, we also reviewed the data we captured from the Haunted Mansion ride, where we made two super interesting discoveries. The first is that the initial room they take you in is really just a fancy elevator so they can get you underground to transport you to the real ride, which actually isn't in this house at all. Because when you go down this hallway, you're walking under this hill you see here. So by the time you load onto the ride, you're totally outside the park. But if that's true, there should be some evidence for this besides our scan. And sure enough, there is. Because if you look back at this shot of the hill, you can actually see just the corner of some kind of large building. And if you check that answer on Google Maps, you can see this entire massive above-ground warehouse where the ride actually takes place that matches up perfectly with our LiDAR scan, which is just super clever engineering by the super talented Disney Imagineers. And the second discovery is they use a lot of super thin, nearly invisible curtains they project on that create a lot of the illusions like these flying ghosts. And while your eye might get fooled, as you can see here, there's no hiding from the LiDAR scan. And so you can imagine there are some incredible real-world applications for this LiDAR technology. Like every day when your phone scans your face to unlock itself, or when archaeologists use it to find lost ancient cities from the sky, or for example...
Oh, so that's how they be finding... Whoa.
In cars. And as you might have guessed, this car
that's what he was talking about when he said something about road
because it uses a LiDAR sensor, which as you can imagine, would have saved Wile E. Coyote a lot of pain over the years. And the reason it works so well is because it's updating that point cloud of 640,000 laser measurements every second to the brain of this car, showing exactly what's in front of it. In fact, it works so well, as you can see here, I can maneuver all around these obstacles in real time with all the windows blacked out, looking just at that point cloud in a VR headset.
Okay, easy bike guy.
My Tesla on Autopilot, however,
That's
only relies on simple cameras and its image processing to navigate the world. So to see if that tech is just too simple, we came up with a 6-part LiDAR versus camera head-to-head.
Okay, I'm gonna break it down. All right. So, number 1, they have a dummy. Number 2, they have a moving dummy. Number 3, they're going through smoke. Number 4, rain. Number 5, high light. Number 6, go through a picture or a wall, maybe.
Face off, culminating in a history-making first Tesla versus cartoon physics test.
Oh, okay,
so we're
okay,
starting
okay.
out with a car with the LiDAR. First test is just kids standing in the road. Not sure why he's
Okay,
doing
kids
that.
standing
Very
in the road.
unsafe, so we want to be extra careful.
Okay, hit it.
The testing speed was 40 miles an hour. Should have put my seatbelt on. Which meant the LiDAR would have to detect the kid and then slam on the brakes at least 60 feet in front of him. And it turned out, that's all it needed.
Oh. So that wasn't him
Now
doing
it was
that?
Tesla's turn.
This is a terrible feeling driving straight at a kid, but this is for science. All right, we are up to speed.
And with just simple cameras, the Tesla was speeding fast,
Oh no.
but did detect the kid.
But y'all didn't stop for the kid, though. Okay, Tesla.
Just not in time to fully hit the brakes.
Oh no. He
Now-
was
now
even
he
a
knocked out.
Crunchlands fan.
Now, if you're a Tesla owner, there is a silver lining because we were relying on the automatic emergency braking system to stop for the car. And because it assumes the driver is paying full attention while fully driving the car, it only hits the brakes when it's 100% sure there's a problem in order to avoid false positives. So the alternative is to use autopilot, and that assumes the driver isn't paying much attention, and while the downside is you get way more phantom braking and false positives,
Wait, phantom braking?
the upside is you're less likely to be charged with vehicular manslaughter.
Wait,
As you can see
so
here,
what's
on
phantom
autopilot,
braking?
It actually stopped.
Wait, phantom braking? Oh, wait. So y'all, when y'all put y'all cars in autopilot, it automatically brakes for no reason? Oh, Tesla, you're getting a bad rep. I'm not gonna lie.
In time. So I decided to be nice and call the score 1-1, and then I'd be even nicer by using the more conservative autopilot on the Tesla for all the remaining tests. Such as this one, where we would now simulate the kid dashing out from behind a parked car using some clever engineering, giving the cars less than a second to identify the mannequin and stop themselves.
Here we go, getting up to speed. Oh, a ball came out. I wonder why that happened. Oh, kid!
Oh, the LiDAR is
Another
tough.
life
The
saved.
LiDAR is
Now it was
tough.
the Tesla's turn on autopilot.
40 miles an hour. There goes the ball.
And impressively, it stopped with plenty of room to spare,
Good job, Tesla.
which meant we were all tied up heading into
tied
round
up.
3,
Round
the
3.
fog round.
Optically, with my own eyes, I can no longer see that there's a kid through this fog. The LiDAR has no issue. This will be interesting. Okay, here we go. Oh, wall of fog. So we plunged through the fog, coming to a very sudden break. Hey! After which we saw the mannequin was not only still standing, but it was casting a really cool long shadow because the lasers don't pass through solid objects, just like how you can cast a long shadow with the sun because light doesn't pass through solid objects.
Okay.
I don't have high hopes here, but would the kid look just as cool after the Tesla test? Oh, fudge! I mean, slow-mo does make everything look sort of cool, but that wasn't the only shot.
Yo,
I
Teslas.
actually hit the brakes
Teslas.
there.
I thought your
That
cars was
on
amazing.
autopilot. The cameras didn't even hit the brakes at all. The only thing still on is the pants. That was a bad one. And now that LiDAR had taken another W, it's time to make
You get hit so hard
the next
that
test
your
will see if the
clothes
cars can
fall
spot
off.
the kid under a torrential downpour made up of maybe too much water. This is really interesting. See, the Tesla can see the kid, but as soon as it starts raining, the kid is gone. And it was similar in the LiDAR car, where you first got a clear image of the kid and the shadow. Once we started the hose, oh, you see all the water going in. LiDAR might struggle here. Okay, here we go. And as the wall of water started, LiDAR seemed to not slow down at all. Until the last possible second. Another W. Now I just need the rain to stop. You know any good rain dances? Just back up. Oh, that's actually a good idea. Now that LiDAR had surprised me, it was time to see if Tesla could as well. Oh boy. Oh boy. And sadly, it did not.
Tesla
I
is
did
what,
everything
two?
I could.
Yeah, he's no longer with us. So it was on to the penultimate round 5, where we
Bro,
had 6
Tesla
of the
is
brightest
2
lights
and
that money
2.
could buy simulate either sunset or sunrise, or a truck in the road having its bright lights.
Yo,
With
Mark
these
Robert,
lights,
this is
keep the
tough.
cars from detecting the kid. Blinding trucker light test, let's go. The LiDAR could immediately see much more than my eyes could. When the lights turned on, oh, that's a bright light. Question remained if it would see the kid. Oh, come on, LiDAR. Oh!
Okay, the
And
lights
it
don't
did
matter
it.
though.
No problem. Just always waits to the last minute. It gets me every time. That's very bright. Time to be blinded by the light.
Not,
And
bro.
it's
If
true,
they
these
fail
lights
the
were
light
so
test
bright, I
too,
wouldn't have seen this kid on my own.
If a
And at
Tesla
this
fails
point,
the light
I really
test
doubted
too?
that the Tesla could either. But when it pulled to a stop,
okay.
we stopped for the kid with the bright light. A W for the Tesla. And that W meant these were the scores headed into the painted brick wall ultimate
But
grand
5 for
finale.
5?
Scientific papers have actually been written.
LiDAR
on this
said
exact
5 for
scenario,
5.
debating theoretically what the Tesla would do. But we were here once and for all to silence all the debates with cold hard data. All right, so LiDAR is perfect and Tesla is 3 for 5. But as far as I'm concerned at this point, this one's the only one that matters.
This is the ultimate test. Let's see. I think that Tesla
All right,
going
hit
straight
it.
through the fucking wall.
Now, as you can see as a human driver, while that looks sort of convincing, the image processing in our brains is advanced enough that we pick up on minor visual inconsistencies and we wouldn't hit it. And as for the LiDAR, it isn't looking at what image is printed on the wall. So this sort of just looks like a wall, which would make this the easiest test of the day. And as I suspected, handled it with no problem.
That's
So
tough.
the question was, would the Tesla detect and stop for this Wile E. Coyote-style painted wall that was hiding yet another child staring at nothing during what might be his last minutes on Earth? The one way to test that hypothesis. I was actually supposed to go, but I chickened out.
Nah, you're scary. You're scary. You're scary. You're scary. You're
Car may
scary.
not know it's a wall, but I know it's a wall. Everything in your body
Is it a brick
says,
wall?
Don't drive into a wall. Oh boy. All right, here we
It's
go.
a
And
brick
so
wall?
I steeled myself
No,
and
don't do that,
accelerated the
Robert.
Tesla up to the 40 miles an hour. And as the wall crept closer and closer without moving an inch, holy crap. The question was if the Tesla would detect it in time to step on the brakes. And it turned out,
Hey, styrofoam wall. Okay.
so I can definitively
But
say for
it
the
do look
first
like
time
a
in the history
it do look like a comic book though. They gotta get props for that though. They do have to get props for that. It do look like a comic book. All right. I'm not tweaking. I'm not tweaking. It do. Let me know. Let me know. Like, look at
world,
this.
Tesla's
Look at the
optical
aftermath.
camera system would absolutely
Y'all can't tell me that just don't look like a comic book though. I ain't gonna lie, chat.
smash through a fake wall without even a slight tap on the brakes. My heart is gonna beat out of my chest. Turns out my Tesla's more Wile E. Coyote and less Roadrunner. Sorry, little
Nah,
fella.
facts.
Looks like we lost 2 arms and a head. Not sure that's salvageable. I think I might Uber home. But that's not all, folks, because while LiDAR proved itself the superior car technology, could it actually deliver on the dream of 14-year-old Mark Rober and map out Space Mountain well enough for me to make a scaled 3D printed model? And after 30 years of waiting, I'm happy to report, for the first time ever, this is what the Space Mountain track actually looks like.
Does it actually work?
This is so cool.
Does it actually work?
Oh, there's me. There's me, little backwards hat. I recognize every single one of these turns. You go up right there, then you come down, and then it's all the right turns, right turns, right turns. Right here is where they take your picture. This is wild. 14-year-old me would be so proud right now. This is it. Space Mountain has been revealed. And thanks to Harrison's mapping technology, this means you can now actually see what it would look like to ride Space Mountain with all the lights on in
He's
Crunch
actually
Labs,
making
even
this
if at
3D
this size,
figurine
it'd be
work.
way below the ride's 5-foot minimum height requirement. And all of this is why I love being an engineer. You get to shape the future, potentially save a bunch of lives, and accomplish even
might
the
be an
most
engineer.
ridiculous 30-year
Fuck it.
life goals.
I could do something like that.
If you're a teenager or
That's
adult
crazy.
and you've always wanted to make and build cool stuff, but just haven't figured out that first step, this is it. It's called the Crunch Labs Hack Pack. And it's basically a series of really fun programmable robots that get delivered right to your door, where we build it together and learn step by step the kinds of engineering skills that go into making the builds on my YouTube channel. And they all work with no programming required. But since my goal is to take you from wherever you're at and level you up, you can easily hack the microcontroller brains of any of these robots in a bunch of ways to completely level up the functionality. There's also a community where you can share your builds or post questions, as well as an AI chatbot named Mark Robot that will check your code for you and help you implement your most creative ideas.
Yo, Mark Rober.
On top of all that,
tough,
each box
bro.
has a
I don't
chance to
care what
contain a
nobody
platinum
say.
diploma. And if your box has it, congratulations, because college is now free for you or a loved one you want to transfer it to. Plus, you get to come out here and brainstorm one of your own ideas with me and my team for a day. So if you want to enhance or even just take the first step of unlocking the really fun and rewarding hobby of making stuff, just go to crunchlabs.com or use the link in the video description. We're to say thank you. We're giving away that free box as an early subscriber special. Thanks for watching.
Mark fucking Rober, bro.